Hey everybody, Nate Eaton here with EastIdahoNews.com and Chief Shane Turman in Rexburg, the Rexburg Police Department, at least chief for a few more days.
Till Friday.
Friday is your last day. How many years have you been in law enforcement?
Well, I started August 18th in 1988, so August 18th would make 34, so I'm just a couple of months short, month and a half short of 34 years.
Always in Rexburg?
Always in Rexburg.
And over those 34 years, is there one case that sticks out to you above all others?
Well, actually there's two cases, but probably the one that sticks out to me the most is the one that I worked on, and it was the murder of a 8-week-old baby that was tortured for 8 weeks and then finally succumbed to a shaken baby thing, and you know, I worked on that for 2 straight years, and I think at the time we got the highest sentence on a shaken baby case, and sent the parents to prison. It was the Genther case, the Ben Genther case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the parents both went to prison?
Yes, yeah.
And any others that you recall off the top of your mind?
Well, I can remember a case where we had a guy that was molesting little kids in the parks that was exposing himself. And at the time I was a detective, and I also did composite drawings. And I had been driving around the parks. I was at the nature park, and I saw a guy that I thought matched the composite drawing, but I wasn't 100% sure. And so I got a hold of the mother of the little girl that he'd exposed himself to, and had her just take the little girl on a walk around the park with me. And as we kind of walked past the area where he was at, she saw him, and she kind of turned white, grabbed her mom's hand. She's only 4. And she said, "That's the man, Mommy, that's the man." So we brought him in for questioning, and he, you know, admitted to it, and it was him.
Wow. So how do you handle cases? I would imagine cases involving children are the worst.
Yes.
Crimes against children.
Yeah.
I remember years ago I was in a courtroom where you were called to testify in the case of a baby who was abused, not the one you referenced,
right,
but another one. And I remember you brought in a doll and demonstrated. This is how effective the testimony was, that this father was dropping the child on the ground with this, using a baby doll. So how do you deal with this heavy, horrible stuff all day and still have a normal life?
Well, I honestly, I cling to my religion very heavily, and to my wife, who has been just an enormous support. You know, sometimes you go home and you just throw your arms around your wife and your kids and have a little cry, and then you think about that you've got to do it because somebody's got to stand up for some of these kids and help them. And you know, luckily, I remember that case, and the little girl ended up being okay after, you know, some medical problems, but I still get contacted by the mother and the little girl. Mm-hmm. And so it always makes me feel like I did something worthwhile in my life.
Yeah. I would imagine over the decades police work has changed in some aspects, but on some not. What's been the biggest change you've witnessed?
Well, I think it's probably been the computerization of everything, and the internet, and the amount of crimes now that occur on the internet, especially sexual crimes. You know, when I started out, the internet was just beginning. Nobody had cell phones. Now everybody's got a cell phone, so there's always somebody taking pictures. Of course, you know, as in the news, that you get the story from somebody watching faster than half the time than we get there. But you know, so for years I did child forensics for child pornography and stuff, and that was a big change that was happening, and that people could do that across anywhere in the world, and basically show rape photos of little kids.
Mm. You told me a story once about, were you being held hostage?
Yeah.
Outside by a tree?
Yeah, I was.
You were a young rookie, right?
I wasn't even on a month, and I was riding with a sergeant, kind of FTOing. We got a call to a suicidal man, and we went over to the house. Everything was darked out. Nobody would answer the front door, and so we'd walked around the side of the house to go towards the back door to see what we could see. There was one little tree that was probably 4 inches in diameter growing on the side of that house. And we were and it was about in the middle of the yard, and we'd gotten about halfway down the house, and the man stepped out with a 7mm hunting rifle that was loaded and cocked and leveled at us. And he was wanted to commit suicide by cop. So he said, I know I'm going to get surrounded by officers, and so I'll shoot one of you, and then they'll kill me. And he said, I'll join my brothers in hell, because he had 2 brothers, one that was shot and killed at a bar here that used to exist, Pods, and then another brother, I believe, was killed in a snow machine accident.
Oh, man.
And that standoff lasted it was the middle of the winter. It lasted about 3-4 hours until we could get him talked down. And I remember going home, because like I said, I'd only been on a month, and I don't think I slept for 3 days. I had so much adrenaline going. And I thought, wow, this is the coolest thing in the world, because, I was dumb and young.
So it didn't scare you away? You said,
no, it didn't. No, it was just such an adrenaline rush. But, nowadays I would just pass out and faint.
Yeah. What are you going to miss the most?
The most is the people here at the police department. The people that I get to interact with, the community, the great people in this community. Yeah, that's what I'm going to miss the most.
And Lieutenant Josh Rhodes is taking over as chief effective next week.
Yes.
What's the main piece of advice you've given him?
Just to make sure to get out and go for rides with the officers, and to give a listening ear to people that come in. You can't solve everybody's problem, and so you can't fix everything. But everybody wants everything fixed, and we can only do the best that we can.
All right. Anything you want to add, Chief?
Just that it's been an incredible career for me, and I'm happy to step down, because the department's going to be left in good hands, and I've accomplished everything that I ever wanted to accomplish. So
what's next?
Well, I got like 2 years of farm stuff on my small farm that's built up that I have not been able to get to. My wife, I'm sure, has got a list of chores. In fact, I know she does, that I got to take care of. I want to get some fishing done again, and I think I'm going to finish and pursue my art degree, which I was pursuing before I got this job. I was going into art.
Well, that's cool. All right. We'll look forward to seeing the paintings.
It's sculpting, actually.
Sculpting?
Yeah, bronze sculpting. So,
Chief, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck in retirement.